Hi, Julie here with paperbeadcrafts.com, and today I'm going to tell you or show you how to make this paper bead spider that I made earlier today. It does have flexible legs on it. They do kind of move around. You can make this little spider into a necklace or a pin by gluing a pin on this side, or you can glue a magnet to the back of it and hang it on your fridge. Basically the pattern though is for a necklace or just as a pendant, and this is the way you make it. First off, what you're going to need is these instructions that are available on my website at paperbeadcrafts.com in the pattern section. And you're going to need a piece of recycled copy paper to go ahead and print out the template. You're going to need the template, and this is what it looks like. And basically what you do is you're going to layer this onto some scrap paper or other black paper. And this is what I used. This piece of paper here, it looked like this, and it came from this tablet. So basically what you do is you go ahead and grab a piece of paper out of your tablet, and you take your template and you layer it onto your paper, and you put binder clips along the one edge to hold it together. Basically what I actually do is I go ahead and clip it here on this side and then start cutting these off first. When you do print these out, you're going to need to set your borders at 0 and also tell your printer to print in borderless mode if it's possible, like for doing photographs. This one here didn't get printed on borderless. This is for demonstration purposes only. I'll use this piece of paper later on for another project as a scrap. Okay, back to the instructions. You're going to need that special cutting template like I showed you. You're going to need a 1/16 inch paper bead roller. You can use either the slotted one like I have here. You can barely see the slot in there, but it is there. And the handle's 5 inches long. And the tip on this one's about 1 inch long. This one's plenty big enough to do the spider, since the widest strip is actually 5/8 of an inch. This one here has 2 pins that are flat on one side facing each other, and one end is longer than the other to make it easier to slide the paper in. This also has the same type of handle, and this little roller here, this end here is about 1.25 inches. Okay, so what you're going to do, and you're going to use these rollers for that. Okay, the next thing that you're going to need is white glue or a glue stick. Either one will work. I like to use white glue in my little palette here. Okay, and then you're going to need some way to cut your paper into strips. I use a guillotine cutter, but you can use scissors or rotary cutter and cutting mat. It's totally up to you. And you're going to need your favorite glaze for glazing your beads. I use PC Petrifier, and since I've been using this for about a couple of months, I've discovered instead of having to let it sit for 4 to 6 or 8 hours, I let it sit with the first coat maybe an hour, hour and a half, and then I do 3 more coats of this, letting it sit for at least an hour for each coat. And then for the final coat, 1 more final coat, I use Vibrance to give it a nice shiny glaze. One thing about dipping them multiple times, you're going to want to invert your strand of beads if you do dipping after each coat, so that way the beads will get coated evenly. Okay, so that's that. And you're going to need, if you're going to make this into a blanket, you're going to need a blanket. How about that? A necklace. You're going to need a length of chain or some cord or something like that. I have some silver chain I'm thinking about using for that. I just cut off the length that I want and attach a clasp. And you can use any kind of clasp that you want. I have this lobster claw clasp, and you can use it with jump rings. And then I have this filigree clasp, and with this little thing to go with it. These actually go together. And this goes like this. You put it in here, slide it in, and then push it down. And then you use jump rings and you attach it to both ends of the the chain. Okay, so that takes care of the clasp. You're going to need 8 pieces of 20 gauge wire that is 3 inches long, and that is to make 2 spiders. I've only cut enough here to make 1, so this is what you're going to need. These are for the legs, and then you're going to need head pins that are 2 inches long in the silver color, and there's the head, and this is for the body. As you can see right here, it's this part here, and these are for the legs. Okay, and you're going to need needle nose pliers, wire cutters, and chain nose pliers to actually assemble the spider. Okay, the first thing you're going to do, like I said, is go ahead and cut up your strips and get them ready. And I'm not going to bother rolling one on camera. You've seen me roll these before, but your pattern consists of several pieces. This one is for actually 2 spiders. We have the abdomen piece, piece 1. This is the first one that you're going to roll. And then the second one is abdomen piece 2. And that is for, you know, this bead here has 3 layers of paper, 3 strips. And then you're going to use your third strip here, which is abdomen piece 3. Okay, and that will produce a bead this big. It's about 5/8 inch, and if you notice, I have a fat end and a narrow end. What you're going to want to do when you roll it is you want to make sure that you end up with a fat end and a narrow end, so that way it kind of looks like an abdomen. And then you're going to have a head piece, and here's another abdomen 3. Okay, here's the head piece. Yes, the head piece is exactly the same size as the abdomen 3, abdomen piece 3. It's the same exact size. But I didn't want to get you guys all confused and wonder why. You know, it is the same size, but I labeled it as the head piece. And that would go here, of course, at the top. Okay, and then you're going to have 16 segments per leg, or per set of legs, 16 beads. And what you're going to do is, I've got these here already on my string. These are all ready to go. And of course I used my waist beads here to take on the extra glaze that drips down. They fall into the holes, so that way the rest of the beads holes are clear. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take off this crimp bead. And I use crimp beads to secure the bottom and the top of my 50 gauge fishing line, and this is what I use to secure it. Coming back on the 20 gauge wire, you can use any 20 gauge wire, but I'm using this today. And I did have some of this. I got it at Walmart, but I don't have enough to do another one, so I'm going on with my new roll here. This is 20 gauge, 12 yards. Basic Elements craft wire, and it's silver. And this I got at Walmart as well. It was actually in the kids craft wire section. Okay, so that's information about that. And here are my beads. I'm going to go ahead and take this bead off, and that's the head. I'm going to show you how to assemble it, because you already know how to roll these beads and know how to layer them. You should know that anyway. I do have videos on how you actually roll the paper into beads. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to assemble a leg first. Okay, so you've got you're going to need 4 beads for the first one. Okay, and it's really the legs that you really do need to be shown exactly how I did this. It's fairly easy though. And at the very end, you're going to make the tiniest loop that you possibly can. It's a simple loop. So you just wind it around. Very, very tiny. Really small. And that is the little end of the foot here. Then you're going to put 2 beads on. Alright. And at this point, you're going to make a loop in the center of these leg segments. So you're going to go just a little bit away, maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe less, and you're going to wrap the wire around it and make the loop as tiny as you can. Okay, so basically in essence what you did is when you formed the loop, this top part here is the top part of these legs. It's going to go across the top of the back. Okay, at this point you want to go ahead and put on your other 2 beads. Okay, there's 1 and there's 2. And you're going to make a simple loop, another tiny one at the top of this one as well. But see, I have it a little long here, so I'm going to cut off just a tiny bit after I go ahead and fold this over. Just kind of lock it in place. And then you may want to make it slightly less than 1/4 of an inch because you're making this a small tiny loop. Maybe even less than that. Okay, that's about right. Slightly more than 1/8 of an inch. And then you're going to wind this back at the smallest part of your needle nose pliers, real tiny. And then you're going to look to where it's oriented to the center of your wire here, and you're going to bend it up because it's basically the foot of the leg. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and you're going to do that to the remaining legs, or pieces of legs. Let's see how fast I can do this. In fact, you can probably go ahead and do all your loops first, just to get started. Okay, and 1 more. Okay, look at that, looped over. Okay, and go ahead and put your beads on. Okay, set that aside, grab 2 more. So if you're going to be, if you don't want to waste the template and throw away the pieces that you used for the template, you can always go ahead, roll all the template template paper, the template pieces, and go ahead and roll them up, and then use a black Sharpie like this, or a black permanent marker, and just go ahead and color the beads before you dip them into your glaze or get them glazed. That's, you know, I've got some sitting next to me that are ready to do that, and just like this, I've got these. I actually colored those with black Sharpie marker, and that's my actual template pieces. So I can make 2 spiders with the template as well. Okay, so here's another one. And let me put the beads on this one. Okay, I'm not going to go ahead and do the other 2. Well, maybe I should. It's going to take me just a moment here. Okay, bend this over, cut it off, make the loop. Okay, so do that with the next one. Let's do this loop again so you can see how I've done it. Away from it a little bit, bend it over, and then continue to make your small loop. Okay, put your other beads on. And bend it, cut it, and make the simple loop on the very end, as small as you can make it. And that one I got a little excited on that one. can fix that later. Okay, so I'm going to do one more. It's that center loop. It takes a little practice, just a little. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Away from the end a little bit, bend it, and then continue. That makes it nice and tight. And you can go ahead and squeeze this a little bit because you want it to be flat. Put the beads on. Put the beads on. And then one more time with bending it over, cutting the tiny piece, and roll it back. Okay, and so you're going to end up with 4 legs that are like this with the little loop in the middle. You're going to want to squish these in the middle. Try not to break them. And you're going to bend this one, or actually flatten it. If you have chain nose pliers, it might be a little easier to flatten it. And I actually do have some. They're in my drawer. Let's see if I can find them. Well, no, I don't have my good ones. So okay, and then the next step is you've got your legs like that, and you're going to take your head pin and you're going to put this large bead pointy side down, the longer pointy side down. And put that on there, and then you're going to put the legs on. Try to make sure that they're all going in the same direction. See, I've got this loop going this way, so you know what, maybe it doesn't really matter because I've got this loop going. Okay, these 3 are going this way, so I'm going to keep this one the way it is. Just thread it on and butt it up close to the top of this bead as hard as you can. You're going to put them all on one at a time. Alright. And then at this point, go ahead and put on your small bead on for the head. And if these are all messy, it doesn't really matter because you can always readjust them. The point is you want these to be tight to each other. So go ahead and squeeze them. Squeeze them together. Okay, and then you're going to finish this off by bending this, keeping it as tight as you possibly can. Bend it back. And then you're going to move. Alright, I did that wrong. Okay. You're going to make a wrapped loop with this. And you want to hold on to it as tight as you can. And put it about halfway up your needle nose pliers. And you're going to bend this top wire down. And then you're going to move your pliers up like this. So that way you have the wire here that you can see it. And then you're going to pull this part up and over and down, and you're going to continue rolling your pliers so that your wire is going to look like it's about to start wrapping around the base. And then you're going to go ahead and wrap that wire. Boy, I wish I had my other pair of pliers. Here they are. Okay, so you're going to hold on to this as tight as you can, and you're going to grab a hold of that wire that's just above the head and wrap it around your loop the best way you can, even if you have to take it off to move it. It just needs to be wrapped around once or twice, and then you can snip the rest. It doesn't really matter. Okay, it's just there to keep it secure. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to snip the rest of that off. Got it. So that way you have your wrapped lip loop. I'm not perfect at it. It's not that easy to do the very first time you try to do it, but it does make for a better loop with practice. Okay, so now we've got these legs. They're all jumbled up. What are we going to do? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start moving them into the positions that we want them to be in. And this one is the one that is right up close to my head, so I'm going to bring those forward. Like these two here up the front. Okay. And then you're going to take the ones that are in the back and pull them back. And then you're going to look at the other two that you've got, see how they're oriented. And let's see. Alright, there we go. Now this is making sense. Okay. And you're going to want to line them up in the way that you put them on there. And if one is up and down a little bit, you know, they're not even, that just adds to the character, and it kind of gives them a look of movement. And then at each section, see how these are straight, you're going to want to bend them to shape them more like legs that are walking. Alright. And you can play with it a little bit more by going ahead and bending these little ends so they're more like feet. Just like that. Alright, that one was messed up, but it's still cute. Okay, I move that one up and twist and move that one. And that spider is basically done. And if you don't want it to move, feel free to go ahead and put a blob of glue in there. Perhaps you'll end up with glue anyway if you're going to use these with magnets or pin backs or something like that. But anyway, there, you've got another spider. Pretty creepy. And now there's two. Alright, so hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to clean up my mess here while I'm on camera. If you want to get the free pattern, it's at paperbeadcrafts.com. And the templates there with it, of course. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video. I do have several other videos now. And if you want to be notified of any future videos that I do, go ahead and subscribe and you'll be notified automatically when I upload a new one. And have fun, and in the spirit of Halloween, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy Halloween. Anyway, one of my visitors on Facebook, or one of the friends on Facebook, mentioned that that it can be used on the Christmas tree too. That's a good idea, actually. And that's it for today. Again, subscribe and visit paperbeadcrafts.com. Thank you and have a great day.